Hey everybody, it's Jorik. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for your continued support and watching the videos I make. I wanted to make this update on the CEF strikes in Portugal at the airports because although we're in Italy right now, still have another week of a vacation before we go back, I heard from a couple of subscribers who have come in from outside the EU into Lisbon and into Porto, and then also somebody that left through Lisbon. So I wanted to give you their experiences. So if you are going to be flying into Portugal from outside the EU, so you're going to have to pass through passport control, and you happen to be doing it while CEF, the passport control agency that handles this, if they're striking on one of their strike days through the end of May and into June, want you to know what you can expect. So coming into Lisbon, we can also say from our experience coming in from the US or other outside EU countries in past years, we've waited up as much as 4 hours to get through passport control. Right now, the people who have come into Porto or Lisbon have said it's been 2 to 3 hours. One couple waited a little over 3 hours to get in. Another couple waited about 2.5 hours they felt. And then in Porto, it was a little over 2 hours to get through passport control to actually get into arrivals and to get out of the city, get into their Airbnb and whatnot. Also leaving, so there's a gentleman who was doing a scouting trip in Lisbon and left over the weekend, said that it was about 30 minutes going through the switchbacks to get out of the Lisbon airport through the passport control area to actually get to the gate to get on the plane to get out of the country. So not bad leaving. And I'll say in our experience, whether it's been Porto or Lisbon airports, leaving during strikes actually hasn't been bad at all. It's been pretty typical. It's really getting into the country that's been the problem. And I want to make sure that I'm clarifying here because somebody questioned this on a prior video I made about strikes. If you're coming into Portugal, but you're already in the EU, you don't have to deal with this. So coming into Portugal, incoming flight from, let's say, Amsterdam, Paris, Munich, Frankfurt, Madrid, you're already in the EU, so you don't have to, you can bypass this. This won't impact you at all because you had passport control in that first country that you flew into. Now, leaving, though, if you're going from Portugal back to another EU country, you're not going to have this issue. But if, let's say, you're flying in and out of London, because many of these subscribers are from North America, from Canada, the US, even Australia, other countries around the world, then you're going to deal with passport control, both coming into Portugal and leaving. I would say if you're getting to the airport and you're concerned, how early should we get to the airport? Probably 2 to 2.5 hours would make sense if you're leaving Portugal and you're leaving the EU. Just in case at Faro, for example, they've had some delays. Usually it's getting in, but just in case something happens along the way, give yourself enough time to get through security, because it may be tense as you're queuing up to show your passport to get to your gate to leave, just in case. I would say if you are on a flight that is directly into Portugal from a non-EU place, I would go to the bathroom on the plane before you deplane. Or I would certainly, because you may be waiting 2-3 hours or more before you can get through passport control, use the restrooms as soon as you get off the plane. But there's always, in each of the airports, there's areas to use the facilities before you get in the line for passport control. Bring a big bag of patience with you, because that's just what happens right now. Those of you that may not be aware, CEF, the body that is handling this and striking, they're transitioning to a new agency that's going to be handling this in the future. So there's a number of reasons why they do this. Each year, it seems like this is something in the transportation sector, not just in Portugal, but across Europe. There are a number of strikes that happen. So you just sort of have to deal with it. And it's sometimes a crapshoot. You're drawing the short straw, if you will, if you happen to fly in or out on a given strike date. So please just be patient when you get in to Lisbon, Porto, or Faro, and you're coming from a non-EU country. It's just going to, on these strike dates, I'll list them in the description. I'll also put them in the pinned comment so you know these dates you need to be aware of. And you're just going to have longer lines and waits. It's just the way it is. So I'm sorry, I wish this was a positive video, but not much of this content makes it onto YouTube, which is why I make it. I try to be short with these videos, but I just want to make sure that you're managing expectations when you're flying, getting into Europe, specifically Portugal. I would say enjoy your travels. I would say this would be, as you're getting into Portugal, rough on these strike days, but just bear with it. Once you get through this process, you're going to love your time in Lisbon or Porto or the Algarve. Just take a break and relax and try to just grit your teeth until you get your passport stamped to where you can get on with your day. Take care and enjoy your travels.